May 4th, 1970, Kent State University, Ohio. Noon. A sunny spring day. About 2,000 students gathered on the Commons, an open grassy area on campus. Some are protesting the Vietnam War. Some are just walking to class. Some are watching. Then the National Guard opens fire. 67 shots in 13 seconds. 4 students dead, 9 wounded. Some weren't even protesting, just in the wrong place. And nobody from the National Guard ever went to jail. This is Kent State, the day America's military shot its own children, and the moment that turned the country against the Vietnam War. To understand what happened, you need to understand April 30th, 1970. 4 days earlier, President Richard Nixon announces on national television that he's expanding the Vietnam War into Cambodia, invading a neutral country, after promising to end the war. College campuses across America explode in protest. 58,000 Americans already dead in Vietnam. And Nixon is escalating. Students are furious. Kent State University in Ohio becomes one of hundreds of protest sites. May 1st, students gather on the Commons. They bury a copy of the Constitution. Symbolic. They say Nixon killed it. That night, riots break out in downtown Kent. Windows smashed. Police called. Some blame students. Some blame outside agitators. Either way, tensions are rising. May 2nd, Saturday night, the ROTC building on campus catches fire. ROTC, Reserve Officers Training Corps, Military Training Center. Someone burns it down. Nobody knows who. Students? Outside provocateurs? Whoever did it, the building burns to the ground. Ohio, Governor James Rhodes responds immediately. He calls in the National Guard. Over 1,000 soldiers occupy the campus. These aren't police. These are military, with M1 Garand rifles, loaded with live ammunition, and bayonets fixed. Rhodes gives a press conference, calls the protesters worse than brownshirts and communists, says he will eradicate the problem. May 3rd, Sunday. National Guard controls the campus. Students are angry. This is their university. Why are soldiers here with guns? Tense confrontations. Students yelling at guardsmen. Guardsmen standing in formation with rifles. No violence yet, but the atmosphere is explosive. Campus officials announce that all rallies and gatherings are banned. Students ignore this. A rally is planned for noon on May 4th. May 4th, Monday. Beautiful spring day. Classes are in session. Around noon, about 2,000 people gather on the Commons. Some are there to protest. Many are just there between classes. Some are watching out of curiosity. The victory bell rings, traditionally used to signal protest rallies. The National Guard declares the assembly illegal, orders everyone to disperse immediately. Most students don't leave. Some chant anti-war slogans. Some yell at the guardsmen. A few throw rocks. Someone throws a tear gas canister back at the soldiers. The situation is tense, but not violent. No guns on the student side, just words and rocks. The guardsmen wear gas masks, carry rifles. About 100 soldiers advance on the students, trying to push them back. The crowd retreats. The guardsmen follow. They march up Blanket Hill toward the practice football field. Students give ground but keep yelling, throwing occasional rocks. The guardsmen reach the top of the hill. They've pushed the students back. Mission accomplished. Time to retreat. 12:24 p.m. The guardsmen turn to march back down the hill. Some students follow, still yelling. The distance between soldiers and students is about 60 to 100 yards. Then about 28 guardsmen near the top of the hill turn around, face the students, and raise their rifles. For a moment, nothing. Then they open fire. 12:24:30 p.m. The sound is deafening. Crack, 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 crack. Not aimed at the sky. Not warning shots. Aimed at students. M1 Garand rifles firing .30-06 ammunition. Military rounds designed to kill. 67 shots in 13 seconds. Students scatter, running, diving behind cars, behind trees. Some freeze, can't process what's happening. Some think the rifles are firing blanks, practice ammunition. Then they see people falling, see blood, realize this is real. People are being shot. People are dying. Jeffrey Miller, 20 years old, hit in the mouth, killed instantly. He was about 265 feet from the guardsman when shot. Alison Krauss, 19 years old, killed. She'd put a flower in the barrel of a guardsman's rifle earlier, saying flowers are better than bullets. William Schroeder, 19 years old, ROTC student, member of the very program some students were protesting. He wasn't protesting, just walking to class. Shot in the back at 390 feet, died an hour later. Sandra Scheuer, 20 years old, walking from one class to another, shot at 390 feet, bled to death. She wasn't protesting, didn't even know the rally was happening. 9 others wounded, some seriously. Dean Kaler, shot in the back, paralyzed from the waist down for life. He was lying face down on the ground when shot. Joe Lewis, shot in the abdomen and leg. John Cleary, shot in the chest, survived. All of them unarmed, all of them American citizens on American soil. The shooting stops, 13 seconds, then silence, except for screaming, students screaming, people running to help the wounded. Someone yells, "They're reloading!" Panic. Everyone runs. But the guardsmen don't fire again. A photography student named John Philo is there with his camera. He photographs a 14-year-old runaway girl named Marianne Vecchio kneeling over Jeffrey Miller's body. She's screaming, arms outstretched. The anguish on her face captures everything. That photograph goes around the world, wins the Pulitzer Prize, becomes one of the most iconic images of the 20th century. Within hours, Kent State University closes. Students sent home, campus evacuated. Within days, America explodes. Protests on over 900 college and university campuses. 4 million students participate in strikes, the largest student strike in American history. 450 universities close temporarily, some for the rest of the semester. May 8th, 4 days after Kent State, 100,000 protesters march on Washington, D.C., surround the White House. Nixon is inside. Later he says he went to the Lincoln Memorial at 4 a.m. to talk to protesters, tried to explain himself. They didn't want to hear it. Nixon calls the student protesters bums, says they're destroying universities. His vice president, Spiro Agnew, says the students invited and got what they deserved. Public opinion turns sharply against the administration. The day the National Guard shot students changed everything. The FBI investigates, interviews hundreds of witnesses, reviews photographs and films. Their conclusion: the guardsmen were not in danger of their lives. They were not surrounded. They were not being overrun. The shooting was not necessary, not justified. 8 guardsmen are identified as having fired their weapons. They're indicted. Then the charges are dismissed. A federal judge rules there's not enough evidence. The guardsmen claim they feared for their lives, felt threatened. The students were 60 to 390 feet away, throwing rocks. The guardsmen had rifles, bayonets, and gas masks, but they felt threatened. The families sue. Civil trial in 1975. After years of legal battles, in 1979, a settlement is reached. The state of Ohio agrees to pay $675,000 total, split among all the victims and families. The guardsmen sign a statement of regret, not an apology. Regret. That's it. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody loses their job. Nobody is held accountable. But Kent State changed America anyway. Public opinion turned decisively against the Vietnam War. Before Kent State, Americans were divided. After the majority wanted out, Nixon began withdrawing troops, not because he wanted to, because he had to. The political pressure became unbearable. The idea that the government would shoot unarmed students shocked the nation. This wasn't supposed to happen in America. This was what communist countries did, but it happened here, on a college campus in Ohio, in broad daylight, and nobody paid a price. A memorial stands at Kent State now, on the commons where it happened, markers where each student fell. Jeffrey Miller's marker is 265 feet from where the guardsman stood. Sandra Scheuer's is 390 feet. The distance shows how far the bullets traveled, how far away students were when soldiers decided to fire. Every year on May 4th, a commemoration. Names read, bells rung. Students who weren't even born in 1970 come to remember. Because what happened at Kent State matters. It's a warning about what happens when governments use military force against their own citizens. About what happens when protest is met with bullets. 4 students went to college on May 4th, 1970. 2 were protesting a war. 2 were just going to class. None of them went home. Jeffrey Miller, 20. Alison Krause, 19. William Schroeder, 19. Sandra Scheuer, 20. Shot by their own government, on American soil, in peacetime, for exercising their constitutional rights. The National Guard fired 67 shots in 13 seconds, changed American history, turned the tide against the Vietnam War, and walked away without consequence. This is Kent State, the day America shot its children, and learned that even here, speaking out can be deadly. May 4th, 1970, 12:24 p.m., 13 seconds, 67 shots, 4 dead, 9 wounded, 0 accountability. And America was never the same.